Okay, I think I'm overdue a yap. Um, I'm going to just kind of let me put on a fucking shirt. Just kind of talk. I feel like yeah, my brain's kind of like going crazy. The audio's probably gonna be buns as well. But it's fine. I don't really care. I'm just doing this for me at the same time. I guess. Let me quickly change this shit to this. Yeah. Um. So like, yeah, I'm in the midst of a lot of creative change. A lot of stuff is gonna start happening. Uh, there's like kind of emotion right now, and so like, I'm kind of, yeah, but like, I'm I'm essentially trying to like rule, no, like make rules for myself to like live by, or like philosophies and stuff. I don't know why I was initially gonna. I had like a very clear idea initially for what I was gonna say like right now, and then I went to the bathroom, came back, and I forgot. But like, um, yeah, like my manifesto, if you will. Like I know there's gonna be a CV manifesto. I'm very pleased with like the progress that CV's making. It's like moving forward, you know. But like moving with intention is my most important thing to me. There has to be a reason to be doing things. Like you can't just be like fucking like creating for the sake of creating. I think that's why people make uninspired work is because there's no reason. They're just doing it because they think it would be cool. And it's fine to not be able to find a reason, but like you need to be working towards finding like a purpose. I think that's why a lot of like fashion designers I think have like this kind of like underlying, even though it's technically flashy, it's kind of cool. There's like this underlying feeling of like nothingness and emptiness because like they're not actually trying to say it. They're not trying to tell you anything. They're just like making clothes. Um, yeah. I'm gonna be making a transition from like living in Perth to living in Glasgow very soon, and I'm excited. I can't tell if I'm gonna move in or not with like my homeboy if I'm gonna live solo dolo. I'm very committed to like living super minimalist in terms of like the bare essentials. So I have like the space mentally but also physically to just create as much shit as I can. I would also like to have like the financial freedom financial freedom to like fuck around and not have to like worry too much about like a job. So I don't mind finding like a super cheap place and commuting into uni so I can like make stuff. But yeah, yeah, I'm in a good place. It's still a scary place because there's like a lot of shit that's still not finished. I look, you got lucky with this Dracula thing. But yeah, I got this fashion show I'm working on with CPK. It's going, it's going, it's going forward. Um, yeah, it should be good. 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 It's kind of, I think it's somewhat of an update, I guess. But like, yeah, it's crazy. I really forgot what I was gonna actually talk about here, but it's cool. Manifesto. Fail as much as possible. You need to be making mistakes like all the time. The faster you can fail, the faster you can, grow. That's the only way you experience growth is through failure and experimentation. Also experimentation as well. I don't like the idea. Oh, that was what it was. So it's like I like what I'm moving towards, like after this Capo EP, after this Halloween EP, is like kind of uh based heavily on nostalgia, but specifically like through a working class lens. Um, like as a second generation immigrant growing up in Scotland, it's a very specific experience, but also just the working class Scotland childhood Gen Z experience is like super specific, especially in Scotland. Um, so it's gonna be pulling from a lot of like very personal like the writing will be very personal and it's gonna be like unapologetically like Scottish for the most part. There's still gonna be some like American accents in there, but I'm gonna be using the Scottish accent more and pulling from like cultural things that are like unique to Scotland. Cause like there's so much of like American culture and like English culture that is ingrained in like how we express ourselves in Scotland, but like it doesn't go the other way, unfortunately. People don't know what we're actually doing up here, so I'm trying to show that. But also, what I hate is like this idea. I think it was that. Okay, that's what it was. When I was looking at this, I'm like doing research for the fashion show. I'm looking at different eras, and like it's very important to me that like you have to be adding something as an artist. You can't just be copying and like being like inspired by something, but you're just making like a new like a reproductive version of it. Like there has to be a reason to be doing that. So like I don't want this to feel like it's just nostalgia bait, because it's not nostalgia bait. It's like a century of youth is like a contemporary retelling of the last 100 years of youth fashion and counterculture, specifically through a working class lens in Scotland, and with a focus on Perth as well. And this like album for me, like nostalgia has become such like a big thing, especially like as a fucking like corporate tactic, but also just like people are using it for their image. Like people are like copying, essentially just copying because like they know, oh, Y2K is in trend now, 2010's in trend, I'm just gonna do what they were doing back then, but they're not adding anything. That's what's pissing me off, and that's why it feels like it only goes so far. Like there are people who are like making like Justin Timberlake songs now, but they're not adding anything, which is like why it's cool for a bit. I feel like that's why a lot of like potentially like some of these pop songs are like doing super well in the charts. People are listening to them all the time, but like don't really feel like they have like any substance. Is because they don't have substance. They're just like essentially a reproduction of an old song, but like done again. And like, don't get me started on this fucking interpolation thing we're doing. The only interpolation only works when you're adding something new. You can't just be sampling something and then being like, yeah, it's paying homage. You're not doing that, are you? But yeah, what I'm going to be doing next year is an additive process. It has to be additive, or if it is subtractive, it's subtractive with intention. Like you're removing something. Like that taking something away is just as impactful as adding something on top. That's why Virgil Abloh is like such a rest in peace. Like that's why he was such an innovator, because like regardless of, you can say what you want about how creative he actually was, but he was always adding something or changing something, altering something by 3%. If all you're doing is making a song that sounds like it was made in the 2000s, or it's just a 2000 song but repurposed, like what are you doing? So what I'm doing is like I'm distilling the feeling. If you watch like any Pharrell interview, he's always talking about feeling. Tyler Creator interview, feeling. Watch that Pharrell Williams and Rick Rubin interview. He's talking about the feeling is what he's trying to distill. It has to have the feeling of the childhood, but it has to be fresh. Every time I make like something trying to like mimic the style, I always end up going left, because that's just naturally how I gravitate. Like as a producer, I'm always trying new shit. And so what I'm doing is like I'm bringing a sound that sounds familiar and has the feeling of like our childhoods. Especially in Scotland, we had like MTV and shit. We had like our cool little TV shows. We had like CBBC, Freeview shit, like CITV. I'm trying to distill that energy into the songs, but with like this fresh approach, because I like produce my stuff from the ground up. I'm not using tight beats. Low-key, that could also be like a thing. It's the fact that people are mass producing stuff, but without like the intention. Like they're just making stuff that like they know will work because it worked in the past. But that's not what this is. We're not doing it because it worked. We're doing it because it's like a personal story. And I say we as like, because I'm trying to really up, like fucking around to 11, crank to 11 the collaboration next year, which I'm very excited for sure. But yeah, I'm looking forward to everything. I know it's gonna be like hectic as fuck. Like I'm definitely gonna like lose hair. Like I'm shaving it, to be fair, but like I'm super excited, super scared at the same time. That's about to be crazy. And like I know it's gonna work, because I just have that level of belief in myself. I need it's like it started off initially as a delusional thing, like I call it like delusional optimism. But that was more because I was like so far in like I don't know how it will work, but I'll make it work. But now it's getting to the point where the work I was doing like years ago, like literally as a kid, well I say kid, like a few years ago, 3 years ago, 15, 16, is like paying off. It's paying the fuck off because like I did the work when I was younger. Like I started early. Starting early is like one of your biggest strengths you can have as a young person. Like the time is now. Just do it now. But at the same time, I don't discriminate. Like I want to work with older people as well. That's something I realized like only today, thanks to the GOAT Tewia. That like people of all ages are trying to create work, but people are like there is this obsession with like the youth and like the fountain of youth and like preserving an agelessness, which I think is kind of fucked up. Like it's okay to be old and like just like rock with it. Like how many old people do you know that are cool as fuck? Probably a bunch. Like all the cool people, all the old people I know are really cool. Like and like that's like a thing that needs to be. I think maybe like me need to remind people that like you don't have to try. You don't have to be old and try to be cool. You can just being old is cool because you've lived life. You have all this experience that you carry with you. You have like battle scars and shit. You know. But yeah, man. Working with intention, working with people. I also want to do a lot of facilitation, like helping people like get like the kind of momentum they need to like be self-sufficient. I think self-sufficiency is one of the best. Like independence is one of the best things you can do as an artist. I think I'm gonna genuinely commit to being an independent artist like my whole life. I'm fine with like a partnership potentially, but I think like it's gonna be really hard and really fucking annoying when I'm like trying to get like break into certain industries and like the like only it would only work if I had like a connection to like a label or something. But I think I'm gonna truly commit to like being independent, like CV being its own entity and only doing partnerships or collaboration with other companies as opposed to like just getting bought out by like fucking I don't know like Interscope, who's our subsidiary of this, subsidiary of this. Like I'm not like CV has to be the umbrella. I don't want to just like get scooped up. And ownership is very important to me, and I think should be important to artists. And I want them to feel like, I think there is potential for us to like as CV as like a company to like revolutionize the way creative contracts work. I think I have an idea of how to like revolutionize like record deals, sorry, in a way that's non-toxic, like completely non-toxic. Where artists retain their ownership and creative control, but have the means to create without like feeling like they have an advance. Like I don't think it should ever feel like a bank. People don't realize that a record label is just a bank. All the big record labels are just banks, and they work like a bank. Where like if you happen to be a really successful business or artist in their sense, an artist is really just a business to them though. Then it's all fantastic, smooth sailing. But if you don't, and like you unfortunately fail, which 90% of people do, then you're fucked because the advance they gave you is like an advance, and they need that money back, and they're just gonna not like push you, and then you're gonna get dropped, and then you're fucked, and it's really hard to like actually break in because you don't have the support of the label anymore. And so yeah, support systems and like being like self-sufficient, but also like feeling like you have like a family, like you have like that level of support, like to just like do shit and do whatever the fuck you want. But like with like the financial kind of aspect, where like I want it to be like a salary based thing, where like the salary is like the baseline of the deal, where like they can just get paid for. I don't want to talk too much about actually what I'm trying to do. I'll just like let it speak for itself, hopefully in the future. Because I'm very much a doer as opposed to a talker. I talk a lot. I fucking yap like crazy, but all this shit exists in my head and is written down, but is yet to be actualized. So 2026 is the year of actualization and the year of like doing stuff for free. Very excited. I hope the next video I make on this channel is like when I'm in Glasgow in the flat. But we'll see. I'm already having so much fun, like making music and doing stuff. But it's about to be fun as. It's gonna be crazy, but it'll be fun as fuck. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be crazy. Shit, I'm just saying the same words over and over again. But yeah, I did realize there is a very direct correlation with like my like speed patterns of speech and like level of coherence. I think when I am speaking when I'm like in a manic kind of flow state episode, as opposed to when I'm like kind of in a slump. I guess actually I think it's just the speed, to be honest, because I still kind of like stutter, but I'll just like be silent as opposed to like because my mind is moving faster than my mouth. Japanese, I kind of do want to bring it back, but I want to just like change the format. Um, because I do love the effort aspect of it, of like going out to like a nice little location or something, but I think it is currently too much work, so I'll make it something maybe more like this, where I'm just like sitting here inside a room, and then I have footage playing over it, or maybe make it more like a kind of documentary thing, where it's like I'm kind of flipping. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm always trying to do something different. I don't want like initially the kind of USP of Japanese was that it's just talking, but also it's kind of like a level. There was a level of like following the process and the journey of me as an artist. But I think if I make it more like that, go lean fully into the documentarian aspect, like that can be very interesting. Where like it's a podcast just documenting the process of me as an artist, and like I'm kind of giving my 2 cents on like the journey as I go along, as opposed to just like yapping with no sense of direction. It could be like I don't even like. There's no structure. I just like I like every episode is like a lesson of what I've learned and how you can like learn from my mistakes and shit. But we'll see. We'll see. I hope this all works out. I hope the like me and Marcel works out, as in like us figuring out how to live together. Because even if we don't, like, I'd rather we don't live together and our relationship is preserved, as opposed to like us living together and that like fucks everything up. Because if our needs are different, then we don't. There's no need to force ourselves to like. I'm gonna tell him this obviously, but like, there's no need to force ourselves to be living together if it wouldn't work, if we like prioritize different things. Yeah, that's cool. It's cool. I think I would actually be fine living by myself. We'll see. We shall see. See we shall. See we. See we. See we. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you listened, I don't really care. Well, I do care. I love you guys. I know who guys is. There's no one on this channel currently apart from Marcel, so love and guidance. But yeah, keep it going.